David McMullen. He loves vintage clothing and much more. He started several businesses like this store. La 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 la. It's Dave and Kai. Don't forget to subscribe and press like.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dave, the biggest realtor pound for pound that you'll ever know. Today I'm here with actually another Dave, or is it Dave? That's actually David. First question for you. Is it Dave or David, and why?
You know, it really depends on the person. I get called both. I'd say Dave has become more the regular term, but I don't really have any preference either way.
Really?
Yeah.
I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about it over the course of my life, like actively choosing which name to go by. I can tell you when I first started going by Dave, it was like grade 9. I had my English teacher. It was like the first day, and he was like, "Is it Dave or David?" And I panicked because up until then it was David. I was like, Dave. And then for the next 8 years, I went by Dave.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated from university, I was like, maybe I'll go back to using David for my professional name. And then a few years later, now with real estate, for social media, just because of the Dave and Kai thing, it flowed better than David and Kai.
Yeah.
So it's been Dave now.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've always referred to myself as David, but Dave is just always just kind of, that's what people like when I get to know you. It's just easier,
right?
I guess. And I've never been passionate enough to fight
online.
Your
name is David.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's what the username says. So.
Exactly.
I mean, you can have Dave. I can have David if we're in the same room. I can fight over it.
Okay. So if you could just tell people who you are, what you do. So it's a loaded question.
Yeah, especially more recently. My name is David McMullen. I am a business owner here in the city of Hamilton. I've been a part of the city for the better part of 10 years now. And
sorry,
no worries.
Do you mind just pulling the mic? I'm not sure if it's getting you. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a business owner here in the city of Hamilton. Originally just kind of wanted to do vintage clothing on the side, pursuing a career in like law enforcement originally.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I came to Hamilton. Mohawk College is a really good program for hands-on experience that kind of gives you opportunities to work with professors, and then having advanced programs, mental health and addiction programs that I was really interested in. So originally it just seemed like the best fit for that. Never thought of Hamilton as a place that I would like really stay. But fast forward years down the line, I started vintage as kind of like a side hobby. Was fortunate enough to like meet a lot of great people along the way, which kind of like expanded, downsized. We've had a lot of ups and downs over the years, but yeah, we have obviously a spot over in Westdale here, a spot over on Ottawa Street. My fiance has a women's store over on Locke Street, as well as doing like e-com. So it's kind of been our primary focus up until like last year, where I just really started to enjoy the love of events. We've always done vintage events in the city, kind of hip hop back from Hamilton and Toronto. And like last year, we wanted to create something different than just social media. I don't want to say marketing, but just like tying some sort of community to our store. We had really enjoyed like the whole underground music scene. And we wanted to start incorporating that into Hamilton because we found ourselves going to Toronto. We were like really trying to enjoy it like almost every weekend. So it was like a slow and steady idea of like almost like why is this vintage clothing person starting like music events in Hamilton? So yeah,
honestly, I think it's almost a natural fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say I've like seen it before. So like, I don't know. I think it was like more of a confidence thing of like, first little bit, it was just like trying it, almost like just trying to make it like friends parties. And then like to like now, I mean, it's only been a year. Our first one was April 6th, like last year.
Yeah.
So now like we have like obviously some really cool plans for like the city of Hamilton. We've done big events in Toronto now. We started a run club around May of last year as well for the same purpose of like, it's cool to actually like meet people with similar goals. Like me and my friend Josh really wanted to like build in-person communities. I'm like, how do you do that on a regular basis? We figured like run club would be a cool way to integrate it. Nobody was like really doing it yet in Hamilton, like within our own circles. Obviously there's other people doing run clubs, but like in Hamilton specifically, we didn't see kind of like a fit of a club that we would like be super passionate to join and build a community off. So we're like, why not start one? Fast forward to like this year, now that like those parties and those runs have like turned into like other connections and networks that we're like growing off of those parties. For example, we now have our own like venue down on Hess Street, run club. We have awesome sponsorships from like companies like Red Bull, Arterix.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, they're super dope, super community focused, and we're like happy to be partnered with them. But yeah, and then most recently, like this year, I knew around the end of last summer, I was like, I want to start taking markets serious, what I've learned from like the vintage space, and start integrating into how to help small businesses and building platforms, especially for small businesses that don't like have the ability to have that in-person regular connect with a customer base or to grow customer bases. Because I think social media is so oversaturated right now where everybody's focusing on just posting on social media. And I think the value of social media, even big followings, is like when you see somebody with 100,000 view video, it's not like this jaw-dropping thing anymore. It's kind of like almost not regular, but it happens all the time. People with big followings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, almost like it's not really appealing to me anymore. So maybe it's not that appealing to a lot of other people. So this year,
I think
go for it.
To that point, it's lost its organic feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's losing. I saw this post the other day, or maybe I don't know what it was, but it was talking about how Gen Z doesn't have, like, they see past the veil. There was, if you were to compare it to like the millennial generation, there was marketing companies could really pass things on to the millennial generation because it felt so novel and organic. But you start to see now that it is all planned and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm losing my thoughts there.
No.
All to say that I understand what you're saying. It's lost some of its specialness.
Of course. Well, I think it's just like when it's so accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
The attractiveness is kind of gone. And like now when anybody with $100 can get views on Instagram, TikTok, any like social media platform, $100, right? Like the entry point is so low now. Like I think people are just relying on that opposed to, more traditional, almost like it's ironic. Now it's like more traditional senses of marketing, like in-person thing, word of mouth, like doing special events to promote your brand. You see less.
Yeah.
So yeah, like things that we're trying to do this year, thrift crawl, which is happening on Ottawa Street this weekend. We're just like, we know how to throw on a market. We have an amazing BIA over on the Ottawa Street that's willing to do cool things. We got a lot of supportive businesses there. It's like, why not just do a street takeover?
So the thrift crawl.
Yeah.
Run through that a bit. How does that work?
Yeah. So I guess our crawl is a huge thing in the city of Hamilton. Obviously, you guys are familiar. And for anyone that isn't familiar, like just having a street that basically is shut down every second Friday of every month when the weather permits. It's like a cool opportunity for like small businesses. Back when I was just like reselling on the side, like thrifting stuff, it was a really cool spot, even before I was selling, just to go like shop. But I do think over time, the accessibility of art crawl has like changed because there's so many people there. Like originally it's literally called art crawl, and there's amazing artists and there's people that pull up, but there's also people that are just like bringing Shein products now. And I'd argue that although Shein products, they're just drop shipping, jewelry, fake soccer jerseys, ironically, I mean, like even vintage ourselves, like obviously we're vintage sellers. That's what we've brought there, but we always try to do something like where we're bringing like really cheap items to art crawl, like kind of have a much easier entry point.
Yeah.
I feel like it just became more flea market-y opposed to like an experience.
Yeah.
So, and that's because it's like a free reign event. Like nobody's coordinating those. Like obviously the city helps coordinate to make sure things are like safe. But like I thought like, yo, let's do art crawl. Just make sure it actually has to be artists and thrift related stuff because it's like our own personal interest. But let's like make sure there's music playing. Let's make sure security's walking around as well. Let's just like make sure it's more of a contained environment. And just breathing life into a part of the city that deserves so much more love than what it gets right now.
Yeah.
It's like, why not? We've had a business there for a few years. We love just like the atmosphere and vibe of Ottawa Street. We always try sending people over there, but it is 20 minutes from like our primary, like, I guess, core audience here in Hamilton. But like I already know, like even since our promo of Thrift Crawl, I've had so many people from out of the city saying they want to come check it out because like, I mean, it's a free event. And I just assume a lot of vendors or small businesses here in Hamilton are going to take advantage during the day.
So is this open to other like vintage vendors as well? Or is this just specifically just your...
Anyone. Yeah.
Really? Oh,
so like sidewalks are open. The city's approved it. The BIA's approved it. You could have a rack of 3 pieces of clothing or 20 pieces of clothing or 18 racks. It's a huge street. I mean,
it's a big move because through the summer there, we're often there because we live blocks from there. But there are a couple events where they shut down the street. And But this sounds like it's going to be more integrated, busier, hopefully. But yeah. I love the area, and Ottawa really has the potential to open up that whole area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like it could be a new core street for sure that like it's just it makes it attractive to live more and more on the East End. The East End has so much cool like history to offer. The buildings are sweet. A lot of the homes are sweet. There's anything you could need over there. It just has the stigma of being like the East End.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us, it's like the BIA wanted to like the BIA is super, super proper there. Probably the best BIA I would say in Hamilton, like honestly.
Shout out Ottawa BIA.
Yeah, shout out Ottawa Street BIA. So like we're more than happy to put our own times in. There's obviously no monetary value for us whatsoever in any form. We have no sponsorships. Like Mitch and I are just volunteering all the time. A lot of it being Mitch, like over on Ottawa Street for this project specifically. Just because like we see
Mitch runs Drop Spot East.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're like just kind of like why not? Like we want to promote the idea of sustainability and having hundreds, if not thousands, of community members coming together to sell and buy used clothing, vintage clothing. I kind of like that stamp of like that we're trying to make that like kind of the vibe of Hamilton, that people aren't like caring so much for traditional brands. And if
do you think there is a notable difference between the vintage markets here in Hamilton versus Toronto?
Well, Toronto's got a lot more of a scene. Like there's way more people buying because there's more people in the city and there's more stores. I would argue still that the fashion scene is stronger in Toronto for the same thing, just per capita. But like I think people here in Hamilton, like since we've opened, I guess, our doors like 4 years ago. Sorry, I got a tapioca stuck in my throat. Like seeing it develop live in front of our eyes, like just seeing like people that like may have like not been on the fence for vintage, and we've seen so many times now over the years where like they go to school here, or that maybe they discovered us through downtown, through social media, or through one of our events, or through one of our markets, and then suddenly once you start the quality of the items and then you start building an identity around your own fashion sense, which is different for everyone. It's like subjective to be like, which one's better, which one's not. But to see people in real time, like building like outfits or styles around just like what we're providing. And that's why I'm so big on markets and doing things like Thrift Crawl, because it should not be a competition between which vintage clothing stores are better or anything, because it's all individual style.
Yeah.
Like Vintage Soul Geek is such an amazing store on James and King Street East, and we almost sell completely different selections. So like who for somebody like our store might be the best one for them, and they don't care for that store, and then vice versa, as it should be. So I think something like Thrift Crawl, like, is gonna like help nurture, I guess, that idea. Yeah. Where Toronto, I would confidently say there's less of a community mindset to it. Vintage markets or street markets are very expensive for the most part. It's more
competitive there.
Yeah, it's more competitive. Like you're facing down, like at the very best, I would say most of the time it's like a $400 vendor fee for like 2 days. So obviously prices have to reflect that. Vendors like people think vintage people just like mark up for no reason. It's like there's the reason why there's not that many rich vintage stores. It's a hard market to actually be successful in. But yeah, I'd say like that's the uniqueness of Hamilton, is like I'd say the community around it, and more of like less trend following, I guess. Like people are just dressing for themselves, which I think is super sick. Like I think it's awesome if somebody comes in here and is like, oh, this isn't really my thing, and then they can find another store in Hamilton, and like they kind of hit it on the nail. For example, even East, like Mitch is catering more to an older audience, like almost like styles that he wears. We're kind of stuck in Westville here because we're like got the university right here, so we're catering more to like simple fits for entry level like students,
local population.
And we love to integrate more. And when we do markets and have like, obviously everything's 101, so there is an influx of random stuff coming through. We have a website, we try to make it as accessible as possible. That's a cool thing about Hamilton, is I'd say that like so many different people, different styles, different type of stores.
Speaking of styles, what is the notable difference between this style here and, as you said, a little bit older in Drop Spot East?
Absolutely.
Are the clothes just tighter up East?
So I'd say over at East, like especially recently, Mitch has like been integrating a lot more Americano style, and this is what they call it, which is like more traditional, like for men, like staples. So like you got things like flannels, you got a much wider variety of like layering pieces. So like where student might be cool sweater, cool pair of jeans, that's good, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But as you get older, you kind of like, I like this type of material. I like to wear a button up and then a heavier flannel on top. Like it's just got way more variety, I guess, from literally things like adding more like leather belts to like the bag accessories that you can, like just more of like that angle where like
just a more matured style, I guess. Not even matured, just
just more like closet staples, I'd say, as far as like where, and that's like something new too. Like we adapt it here. Like we put, obviously this is 1,000 square foot space, so we only have so much to play around with at a time. But even over the like last year, like we always like slowly switch with styles as certain things get more, I don't even want to say popular, but just like people are willing to like wear said certain type of item more often.
Yeah.
It's like cool seeing the transitions over the years, like between our own personal taste and selling that kind of stuff in store, and then just seeing what people are like asking for. And I think Mitch is doing an amazing job over on East to like kind of like even implementing, like you kind of have to go to West and East because they're two different things.
Are you ever trying to influence the trends?
Yeah. Like I think obviously for West specifically, like I touch every single item in here, whether it's like from sourcing it, washing it, to then cashing it out. Like I still source almost every single item that comes through West specifically. Like I'm hand picking. So of course, like the influence there is like, it's something that I like. But things like, for example, we really love like the boxy aesthetic of button ups. So like we hem all our button ups and get by like seamstresses just so they're always like boxy. So if you like young guys or girls are trying to wear them for oversized fits, can like wear them really easily and then go out and it still like looks really good because it's a button up. And like that was something originally we just like messed around with. We had
so you're actually tailoring your clothes as well.
Yeah, some of them for sure. Like we experimented this year with like chore jackets, for example, super long. So we tried to like hem them down so they're more of like a boxy fit, which is just like more the aesthetic that we like. Not that there's anything wrong with those coat jackets, but it's just how we prefer to style stuff. So we're building it around that. But like I said, right now we're 1,000 square feet. So just what's available here is a reflection of like the style we're trying to influence, because if we tried catering with just a randomness in 1,000 square feet, there wouldn't be any like kind of consistency. So like I said, for West, we're just trying to make sure like the basics that we personally find attractive are what's available here, between like things like sweaters, knitwear, t-shirts. In the fall, obviously we're gonna have different things than middle of the summer. But again, that's why we're also trying to implement markets and help bring other businesses as often as we can to Westo, because they might specialize in things that we don't have.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem very, very busy.
Yeah.
At least optically, what I see online. And I think recently you were launching 3 brands within 24 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you not have enough time for a 4th one? No, I'm kidding. But what is the key to managing something like that? Is it?
I mean, I'm still figuring it out as I go. Like, I would give full credit to my team. I say this all the time. I think I'm one of the least actual talented people on my team, but I'm just like the glue that's trying to like push things together. So the answer is like, I could not launch probably one brand like by myself, but I'm fortunate enough to have such solid people around me to be able to lean on other people. And I think over the last year, especially, I've finally kind of been comfortable doing that, where over the last 3 years with DropSpot, we were only doing vintage store stuff because I wasn't delegating and I wasn't like putting faith in other people. I wasn't like sharing what I'm learning with other people, and like honestly just coming down and asking for help and finding that help in good people.
Yeah.
So it's like super fortunate. Like you mentioned from this past weekend, like the first thing, like our record label launch, like that's with a good friend of mine, Jason, who moved to Hamilton from Toronto recently. The next day we have Run Club, which I can lean on Josh, who helps so much with that, with his brand Soul. And then after that, Thomas Market, which I have such an amazing crew of vendors that we've like kind of curated over the last 4 years, where like, although we put together everything with the BIA, because of just the relationships that we have, it's pretty much everybody knows the drill. They come, set up, music starts playing, customers come. So I'm like fortunate enough that not everything is like as tedious as it might seem online, because I have those systems in place.
Yeah. So you probably spend more time on each thing initially, and it sounds like you've been letting go of the reins a bit, knowing that you have people you can trust in each of these. So that's pretty cool. Are these things organically coming up, or are people coming to you with ideas and you're like, oh, you know what? I'd love to help expand that.
It's definitely a mix of both at this point, man. Like, especially like taking that jump and just posting stuff personally. The goal was just to kind of give that look into my life. Yeah. Was never a goal of like, again, you can probably tell by my videos that I'm not like pushing to try to get crazy engagement. I'm posting 2-minute videos of just like literally talking about what I'm doing. But I've been so surprised that like even opportunities like this, just being able to connect with people like quicker, like-minded people, which are now opening up to like ideas of collaborating with certain things. But things like Thrift Crawl were things that Mitch and I were talking about a year ago. This record label thing was something that was talked about like probably close to 6 months ago. Thomas Market, I picked up the dates with the West LBIA in like December. Like, so it's definitely a mix of, opportunities are coming and we're trying to catch the ones that we can and do a good job at. Yeah. But a lot of it is planned so far in advance that I don't think people realize that too, is like, might have launched everything within 24 hours, but there's a lot more than 24 hours that go into everything. Absolutely. I bet. Yeah.
Do you sleep, or are you just...
That's a popular question nowadays.
Yeah. Do you just live off of coffee or optimistic vibes?
I try to live in it to 1 coffee a day, to be honest. But like, I think that comes down to the fundamentals of like, if you actually are enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't feel like you're working these crazy hours.
The old adage. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's an interesting balance for sure. That I'm like trying to figure out as I go, but like I think again, that's a huge thing. It coming to like summer now, it feels like you have so many more hours in the day versus the winter. Like it was a long winter, I think, for everybody.
Funny how that works, right?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I feel like it does seem like a lot, and some days definitely it's like exhausting, not just on myself, but like people around me too. Because I know, like by extension, like the amount of work I'm putting in affects the people around me. So that's like definitely a main motivator of like trying to find new systems as I go to like, it's awesome to grow, but also like back to like delegating and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm also like accepting that, you know, the responsibility of I'm also choosing to do these things. And what comes with that is the responsibility of having to make sacrifices that are long and exhausting sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's a mature mindset.
Yeah. I mean, my dad always said, like, if you want to be a big man at night, you got to be a big man in the morning. And like, I think I take that to heart, like on my day to day. It's just like, if I'm choosing to sacrifice like my time one night because I've chosen to take on these other projects, that doesn't mean in the next day I get to slack off on my other responsibilities that I have. And I think that mentality I've like tried to spread at least to like my core teams with all these other like projects on the go. And I do think leading by example is such a powerful like role in business. And like, I'm so fortunate that I feel like I'm just working with my friends every single day, where like, that's kind of the atmosphere everyone feels is like, yes, it's working, but how lucky are we in today's day and age to be doing something that we enjoy together?
I think that's really what like caught my attention. Seeing, you know what it feels like? When I was younger, I was a big fan of rap, hip hop. I was a big fan of the background scenes, like who created things like the Irv Gottis, the Jay-Z's, the Dame Dashes, people who were like putting together things, and it was never just one business. It was never just music. Mm-hmm. I even hate to say it, but P. Diddy.
A lot of businesses, yep.
Yeah, exactly. And then they were all just working with their friends, people that they grew up with, and they invested in each other, and that's the kind of vibe I'm seeing. Like, and you seem to be like this. You're the secret sauce in this, because like you're pivoting from one business to the next, and it's all synergetic in a way. It's been super cool to watch from the outside. Like,
appreciate that.
You're making moves in the city, the kind of thing that people often wish would happen. So good on you, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. It was actually your birthday 10 days ago, right?
That's right.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Unc.
you.
From one Unc to another. You're a fellow Aries, actually.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Your birthday coming up, or did it pass already?
It just passed end of March.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. You made a post about the challenge you've set for yourself to change the city and the culture. So what's that going to entail? What's next?
I think like obviously there's only so much that can be done in a year, and I understand that. But I think part of like the issue that people either like just hate on Hamilton, or they don't try to understand Hamilton, or like people on the inside like to like think about how like people from Toronto don't understand, but nobody's like doing anything to like bring up the amazing people, specifically the people here. There's so many amazing businesses, and I think what we want to do is like use what we're learning, and we're learning every day, and like bringing those to life. So especially I'd like to say like subculture, our next project that we have on like the 25th is like what I meant more than anything, because I see that creating waves larger than any of our other projects one by one. So that to touch on that really quick, that's like a market that we're doing for small businesses, like artists, small brands, kind of like targeting what Dropswell was 4 years ago. Okay. Being like, yo, if you're a younger person, or you just have that younger energy as far as like wanting to just get your business out here, here's a platform for you to pay $50 for. Somebody else does all the work. All you have to do is show up and put your best foot forward. And I wanted to create a market where like the value isn't the customers coming in and buying your product. The value is in the other 98 of you that are at this market with that same mentality.
Right.
And the idea is that like, whether it's a vendor from Toronto or Hamilton, you've all chosen to come spend your day there. And like, obviously it'll be awesome to make a bunch of money, especially if you're only paying $50. But I think the true value is in like, yo, there's a bunch of people like me. How can I learn from other people? How can I make connections here?
The networking.
And my whole thing with like our crawl, for example, or like specifically markets in Toronto, is it literally feels like you're setting up, you're trying to sell, and that's the extent of your experience as a consumer. You're coming, you're looking through everybody's racks or looking at everyone's tables. Maybe you're walking up and down, maybe you pop in somewhere for food, and then you're gone. Like, I want to create subculture to basically be this network / market event where we have like so much music going on. We have all the businesses on the street all aligned to do like have their patios open, make it a place that you want to come hang out all day.
Yeah.
Like the day flies by because there's so many things to do. And what I see subculture turning into is eventually that gives platforms to these businesses, which then creates like energy for sponsorships from outside of just us doing everything on our own time. So we can actually add professional marketing on top of everything that we're doing. We can actually get the proper exposure, as if we're just starting like all these markets now and they're getting traction. I can only imagine by market 3, market 4. And what I want to do is take this fleet of really creative and awesome people in Hamilton and now do one-offs in Toronto where people are like, where is this coming from? Why is it so cheap? Everyone else is charging $400. Why is this market that's dominating charging so little? Almost like ruining like the status quo and like bringing the love back into our own city. Like nobody's doing it. Everyone wants to complain about the issues with Hamilton. And even when we started subculture and the whole idea of like, we're trying to change Hamilton, the amount of hate that's on the post of like from people from Hamilton, I feel like saying, good luck, it'll never change. I'm like, it has to at some point. And the reason why I opened a business here is because I like saw the potential. I never thought I'd be one of the people pushing the pace for trying to make a difference. But I'm like, it's at this point, I'm like, why not be one of the ones like doing that instead of trying to just see the whole city change on a dime? Be a reason why it's changing. Be something that people are talking about happening in Hamilton. So as 12 months is such a short period of time, I just want that difference to be so significant in all the projects that we're doing that it's almost undeniable that we aren't at least making a positive good. Maybe it's 20% in somebody's eyes, maybe it's 40%, maybe it's only 2%. But I would love it to be undeniable that what we're doing for the city is a good thing a year from now.
I think it's undeniable now because, I mean, the difference between that and just not doing it is huge, really. I think, I hate to say this, but often it requires people coming to Hamilton, to the city, to recognize the gem that it is and that can be, to help push it further because they want that to flourish. I think when you grow up here or in any area that you might criticize, you're blinded because that's all you know.
That's a good point.
And this is my favorite city I've lived in. I've lived in like a few places in my life now. And it's a bigger version of Windsor. That's what it reminds me of. Windsor is like where I grew up in. And but it's the perfect size, I think. It's like big enough that it has enough options of anything you're interested in exploring without feeling so congested.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there a long-term plan? I mean, it sounds like you're kind of touching on that. I was going to say, is there a vision board? But you're already sort of like discussing that a bit there.
Like,
and where does the ambition
like,
come from?
Yeah, for like myself or for like, I guess, our businesses? Maybe for yourself. Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Right.
Let's go there.
I mean, that's so hard to say just because of how rapidly everything is changing. Like, I'm not a very monetary person. Like, me and my fiance, we just like, I love old things. Obviously, that's why we have a vintage store. Like, for myself on a personal level, I would just love like an older home that we like. I
can help you with that.
Yeah, there you Family's always been like instilled in me, or it's like maybe more so been my biggest takeaway from like my upbringing. I was brought up around a lot of religion, but I think family is like the most important thing to me. I'm fortunate enough to have my younger brother who followed me to Hamilton. His crazy older brother that he fell.
Are you the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Wow.
But he left his trades job 11 months ago to come help my fiance open a women's store, believe it or not. And I think that really instilled like this new switch in my brain where I'm like,
is that on lock?
Yeah.
Lock, yeah.
Yeah, on lock. And then just taking care of all like these people that believe in me. So I think there's not like a physical place I want to be in 10 years. I think the assurance that everyone around me is looked after is like first and foremost.
Yeah.
On top of that, I want a Toyota 4Runner one day, a nice 90s one. And those are like the only definite goals that I have in mind.
Okay. Awesome. I've recently been helping somebody trying to find a lease space commercial on James North. I'm finding that there's actually a lot of available spaces. Price-wise, that's something you can argue with. And I can understand why, the owners want to keep them at the prices they are, even though they've been on the market for 9 months, like 12 months.
Yeah.
That said, you can argue that there's actually a lot of opportunities still for entrepreneurs. And you had briefly mentioned before wanting to help young entrepreneurs. What is the hardest step business-wise in starting a business venture?
I think it's like commitment to understanding what you're actually getting yourself into. Like that being the biggest thing. Like I think it's awesome to have ideas. Yeah. It really is. It's awesome to be creative, but you got to understand that what comes with it is a lot of effort and most importantly, consistency. So I think the first thing is if you actually find something you love, that's awesome. That's great, but that's not business. Yeah. Like you actually need a plan and then throw consistency in that plan. You could do a much better job than I did when I started. And that's like looking for mentorship everywhere you can and looking to actually build community around what you're trying to draw a business into. Like, I think when we started, it was like, we were working hard, working smart, maybe a little bit, but I think we could have elevated a lot quicker and put ourselves in a more comfortable position if we were just willing to learn and have more openness to just realizing we didn't know the best way. We were young guys.
Yeah.
And I think we were fortunate. Like we had a lot of close calls when we were opening business, like the business of DropSpot. But I could definitely see why it becomes unmotivating for people or why they put their passions to the side, because it's really, really hard to get business going just in general. And I think you see this all over the internet of like people that have been successful in business in any form. And I think once you figure out how to do one, you kind of, it clicks because you know what you're getting yourself into, you know what is required.
So you find it's getting easier each time?
Yeah. Like I feel like, God forbid if everything like burned down tomorrow, every single business that I had, obviously it would be like a stressful pivot, but I feel like knowing how to structure things now is like the most important part than any individual business. So yeah, I feel like just actually knowing what you're getting yourself into is the biggest part. And some people are able to be like, yeah, I can do that and actually put the effort in. But until things get rolling, it's really hard to actually see that, in my opinion.
And you didn't take any business in school, right?
No,
you said
nothing.
You were in law?
Law enforcement. Yeah. And then I took a graduate.
Pivot, dude.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of life experience kind of added on top of that, but it's been totally just learning as I go. But I feel like that's like exact proof of like why school for a lot of things are like not ideal for a lot of people. And I think there's a lot of like, I don't know. I don't think the average person grows up with the tools to actually bring out the best in themselves or to be successful, whatever success means to different people. But I don't think we get nurtured from that from like a young age of like how to actually reach that point.
Dude. It's such a, I often think about that in a moot way because there's no point in. I think more about how I want to. If I were to have kids, I'd want to be more mindful of these things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I meet people, particularly in real estate, they have such a interesting way of how they think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and I have to ask them, I'm like, where did this come from? Were you raised like this, or did that just naturally come about? And often it's through like parental guidance, like that they were taught to be cognizant of, maybe money or how to manage money early on. I'm like, what an interesting way to live, because that's not like something my parents ever thought to like press on me. And I figured it out later in my life out of necessity. And I'm like, I think these are the types of things that I would want to pass on. Anyway.
I agree.
You mentioned running earlier, starting the running club. My mom actually, she's doing the Boston Marathon. What is it, on Monday? The 20th?
Boston Marathon too. Wow.
It's the second or third time she's doing it.
Beast.
She got into running marathons like in her 50s.
Wow.
Like out of nowhere. I've never seen this lady as much as like jog across the street, let alone suddenly start running. It just somehow it happened. Mm-hmm. But once it clicked, like she became obsessed with running, and she's done all the big marathons. Last year she went with my brothers to Japan, so she'd do that one. I was jealous of that one.
That's crazy.
So my question for you is, what is it about running that just clicks for you and so many people? Like, what is it that people love about running?
I feel like as, adulthood, you have all this responsibility, some people more than others, but I think that discipline, you get that from running, right? And it's almost like a high in a way that, like, even if you get up early and it sucks, that's where the addiction lies, is that like you actively are making the decision to embrace something that isn't fun initially. And eventually maybe it hits that point for certain people, especially when you get good at it. But I think for adulthood, running becomes like that fix in a sense, because like you don't get to demonstrate that on a daily basis, and running's unique because like marathons or run clubs or whatever, you're doing it around other people. Like maybe you're training for a marathon, you're not doing it around other people, but you're only running that marathon because you're competing against other individuals. And I know for myself personally, I would not be running twice a week, like all spring, all summer, and all fall, if I didn't know the other guys were also pulling up and doing the same thing. And I'd like to think it goes both ways. When you have like that responsibility kind of set in stone, you're telling yourself you're going to show up for yourself. And then when you show up, maybe you feel like I'm going to have a slower run today. And then somebody right beside you could just see they're pushing that extra gear. It's just like something about that just like makes it more attractive. It makes it like where you want to be consistent for yourself because you're seeing other people do it. And it's just a chain reaction where I don't really see any way that people can like think of it as like a negative thing. It is just a very positive way to put some wins under your belt for the week. Little victories, like we do Saturday mornings, and instantly you have people be like, I will come to the Mondays at 8 p.m. but I'm never going to come to the Saturdays at 8 a.m. That's crazy because that's Saturday. Yeah. But instantly, you already know those people that wake up on the Saturday, it's 100% a different energy. You're choosing to give away your weekend, your rest day to go suffer along with a couple hundred other people. Like it's really cool. Like, and you always feel thankful for it afterwards. Always, every single time. Yeah. As much as it sucks getting up and then being like, oh, maybe Josh will be there. I don't have to go to this. That thought comes through your mind, but then after it's done, you're like, that's a victory. Now my whole weekend is starting with that instead of a 10 a.m. Alarm snooze.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
In regards to the club itself, is that going to be a business? Is it a business, or is that a social club?
Like the Spawn and Hess?
No, the running club.
Oh, the running club.
Is that going to evolve into something else, or is it just going to stay for what it has been intended for?
Yeah, like I think the social dynamic, like we want to keep that. We usually always try to, like, once summer gets going, switch spots over because it's cool, like bringing everyone to a new local business that we love. We love bringing them to like cafes that we generally go to all the time. Mm-hmm. Cello artists being probably the main ones. And Heel has been like such a supportive partner since like we started. So like exposing our community to businesses that we actually like is really cool. I definitely see ways that like as we do bigger activations, like giveaways, or like maybe we're training a specific day for something different. Like we're already kind of elevating it in certain ways, like where we can expose our community to bigger projects. But I think as it stands right now, I definitely think there's spaces it can grow. I'm not entirely sure like where it'll grow because it's still like a very new space for me. But I mean, Josh, who I run it with, has a clothing brand called Soul, which is, I think, very fitting for like the way he lives his life and the way that like we try to project that brand, which is like really just living life to your fullest in the sense of like on a health and wellness level for sure, but just doing what you love. So I think more so like Soul is kind of really getting fueled by this run club on like the daily basis, because it's like that community when you go and you see like maybe 20 out of the 100 people are wearing like Soul merchandise somewhere. So I see more so that as an extension of where that growth could go, as well as like future brand partnerships. Like if people want like love that energy and want to do something cool with a run club, I feel like that's where there could be growth. But I'm sure it's going to evolve into certain ways I can't even wrap my head around like at this moment. But yeah, I think definitely there'll be some cool stuff down the line for sure.
It's awesome, man. It sounds pretty exciting. And just one last question, just wrapping up basically where we started, or you started. Are there any holy grail vintage pieces that you are in search of?
It's so tough. I feel like the problem with vintage is like you start discovering things that you never thought existed, right? For me, I originally got into vintage for like I really loved the 90s Marvel items that, so basically you would like pre-order them from like comic books and there'd be like crazy all over prints and like on Fruit of the Loom tags, but the quality of those tees versus like today is obviously day and night. Those tees now, some of them go for like thousands of dollars, but I can't bring myself to like buy those for personal wear. But if I ever came across any of those like in a natural way, like whether it's just through like a normal sourcing method or whatever, like those are always ones I'd probably just like hold back now. I think a lot of those like loud prints when I was like getting into vintage 4 years ago, I would never like see myself wearing, but I think I've grown a lot more now where I'm like, hey, if I think it's cool, I'm just going to like wear it. But they're hard to find. A lot of like good sought off vintage that's expensive. It's expensive for a reason. It's because you're not finding it unless you're paying the big bucks, unfortunately.
Who decides? Is it a rarity thing, or I guess like it's anything, it's a demand thing?
Yeah. Same reason why like vintage furniture is so expensive. So same reason why vintage cars are expensive. It's not because the seller is just deciding a price. It's because that's the market value that someone else is willing to pay and has proven to be willing to pay.
I should know that.
Yeah. A lot of people don't think about that with clothing because it's a new concept, but like whether you think a sweater should be $20 is irrelevant if there's millions of people willing to pay $50 for it.
Yeah.
The difference with vintage, just like antiques or cars or anything that has sentimental value over time, is it's only getting rarer by the day and the value is going to keep increasing. If you're not on the boat of understanding that, you're just going to get left behind, unfortunately, whether you agree with vintage or you'd rather go do your shopping at H&M or Shein or whatever fast thing for your wallet. Like, it's the reality is there. It's happening everywhere else in the world. Unfortunately, Canada and US are usually the latest to the party, but it's happening everywhere and it's easy information to find for anybody that actually wants to search it up. So
is your closet only vintage then?
Yeah, I'd say besides like brands that I care about, because so like sustainability is really important to us, but you don't have to just buy something secondhand for it to be sustainable. If you're making a good quality product that you actually believe in and people are not throwing it away after 2 washes because it's not made like garbage, That's another form of being sustainable.
Yeah.
I think the problem is like when people are going to the mall or they're just buying something for $6, $8 online, they're only getting 1 or 2 uses of it and don't think where that item goes.
Yeah.
The item that doesn't degrade anywhere and just gets left in, well, usually burned somewhere else in the world or just like obviously littered in countries that can't afford to create laws against it. But yeah, I think everything in my closet is mindful. I would say that.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Any final words? Things you want to promote this year or a message for Hamiltonians?
Yeah. I think just this year, if you're from Hamilton, if you've actually made it to the end of even this, like I think the best way every average person that does not want to be creating businesses, but just wants to see how they can be part of this is like, doesn't have to be our communities, but just try to support the communities around you in Hamilton. Like genuinely be proud of where you are choosing to live. At the end of the day, we're all making a choice. Like you're choosing to live here, be proud of it. And I think just the positivity that we can bring out of this city is huge. Like, again, it doesn't have to be our markets, but for example, like the platforms that we're building, like you going out and supporting a small business, you going out and supporting an artist, those little victories are having such more impactful like influence on the city than you realize. And I would encourage everyone to do a little bit better of a job, myself included, of going out there and doing that this summer.
It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for having us here.
Absolutely.
I've actually never been here.
Absolutely.
You see this place all the time. It's actually beautiful in here. I don't know if you guys have ever been here. My only gripe is I don't think I could find anything that fits me here.
Yeah, we do lots of sizes of all ranges.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
No, thank you for having us. And excited to see what you're going to do for Hamilton.
Yeah.
This is there's a few people that I've been coming across in the city that I'm like, these are pivotal people for the future of the city. Brody, shout out Brody, and you. I think that list is growing. So I'm excited to see
hopefully
how Hamilton will grow. Awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.